Hi, I'm Alex.
And I'm Kris, and you're watching Thanks!
You Made It with Alex and Kris. 1980s!
We're in the 80s. I got my neon, I got my basket case. I'm ready to go.
Yes. Oh, God. You know, this was hard.
It really was.
This was stupid hard. I'm very particular, you know, especially to the 80s. You know, I mean, that is my decade for horror. So, of course, everything that came out of there, almost everything horror that came out of the 80s, I loved.
Yep. See, my list, I actually had to stick more to the mainstream because so many of the B movies I just love. Mm-hmm. I love them. So
yeah.
I wound up picking a lot more mainstream movies because I just couldn't put these little B movies on here.
That's a mood. I feel that. I actually kind of did a little bit of the opposite. So I love all the B movies too. I'm the exact same way. Like I love all of the shit movies that came out of the 80s. But for my list, I decided to do the ones that I really didn't like. Like
right.
the ones that were B movies where I thought I was gonna like, and I thought I was like, oh hell yeah, it's gonna be dope,
right.
you know, but hated. And I was like, yeah, this wasn't a good B movie for me.
Yeah, like they were trying to put like Chopping Mall on the worst list, and I was like, no,
no.
Just like in the 90s, they were trying to say like Ice Cream Man, like no,
absolutely not.
I have that on VHS. Like no,
absolutely not. You do not fuck with Ice Cream Man.
What are you doing running from the Ice Cream Man? Don't you know that he slays day and night?
Ice Cream Man was awesome.
Right.
It's like Big Ice always said, you can't always find a sweet kid.
And that is another that's another comfort movie for me. I'll just
right.
throw on and be like, man, this shit's good.
So that was what I was up against with the 80s list, was all of them were listing all of these little, you know, B movies that's like, I can't.
Like, I love all of these.
Yeah. I won't.
Maximum Overdrive was one of them.
I saw that show up a lot.
Yeah, I was like,
who's making these lists?
I'm like, please don't do this. Like, we all know it's
right.
shit. We all know it's garbage, but that's what makes it so good.
That's the
point. So bad it's good. Yes.
All right, let's get into this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, number 5 for you.
Number 5. I am actually gonna go for
Night of the Demons.
So
I saw that.
I don't know what it was.
It wasn't good.
I didn't like it. Like, I mean, again, it was one of those, you know, like B horror movies that were kind of mixed in with a lot of the other ones coming out at the time. I just could not get into it. I watched it, and there was a couple parts I thought were cool, but overall, it was very poor, in my opinion. It was just very poorly done.
A movie that you had seen done, but done better elsewhere. Like,
yes.
There wasn't anything new there. They weren't breaking any new ground.
It was just like a take, you know, it was just a hot take on, you know, somebody's creative vision of like, well, this is what I think would be cool, you know, like you know what I mean? Like just taking that popular concept,
right.
you know, of Halloween party at a funeral home, you know, and just, this is how I would do it type of thing. And it just wasn't good. It wasn't executed well, and I found it kind of boring, not gonna lie.
I agree.
Yeah, but that's really all I have to say about it. Like,
that's all you can say about it.
Right. It's like, I mean, I didn't have any, like, serious qualms about it. It was just boring, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, no.
Yep, it's not trashy enough to be part of the, like, good trashy movies.
Right.
It's not campy enough to be part of the good campy movies.
Exactly.
It's just there. It just exists.
Yeah, right.
All right, my number 5, and this is a personal choice. I'll admit that because I know a lot of people actually do really like this movie, is Cujo.
Oh.
And it does have a Rotten Tomatoes audience score of 45%, but I can't do killer dogs. To me, Old Yeller is a horror movie, and to this day have not seen that movie, won't see that movie. I read Cujo the book once. I saw the movie once in order to satisfy my Stephen King fandom. But yeah, no, it makes me uncomfortable. I don't want to have to think about what happens if I have to shoot my dog. Like, I don't have to think about what happens if my dog turns on me. Because I've been seeing in the news, there's been stories about, like, people, like, there was this woman in an elevator, they showed video where her dog just, like, started attacking her. And she had to, like, dive into an elevator to get away. And there's this other about this dog that had never hurt anybody and then all of a sudden attacked his baby like, I can't do those stories. Mm-hmm. And so...
Because it doesn't reflect, obviously, on all dogs, you know? Like, and that, I think that's what's kind of terrifying about it. And Cujo had rabies,
didn't he? Like, I feel like he had rabies. And so did Old Yeller, I understand.
Learn the facts. Rabies kills nearly 4,000 Americans every 1,000 years. Rabies. Ugh.
I guess I would just let my dog maul me to death because I wouldn't be able to shoot my dog.
It would be insanely hard. Yeah, and that's kind of, I'm with you on that one. Right. Like, killer animal movies.
Exactly. It's the same with Edgar Allan Poe and the Black Cat. Mm-hmm. Don't like it. Not for me. Right. That's the one story where I'm like, not for me.
Like, Pet Sematary was enough for me to be like, ugh. And it's crazy that I could stomach that, you know, because, again, like, the poor kitty, you know.
Right.
It's just like, oh, come on.
Exactly.
You know? Like,
exactly. So
being
Cujo,
a cat owner.
Like, I understand, like, Old Yeller, it's not till the very end, so they build up the whole movie of you loving this dog, and then they pull your heartstrings, which is even worse, in my opinion.
Fuck this movie!
Cujo, it's like, I don't know, I just don't want to hate the dog.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want the dog to be the bad guy.
I agree.
So that's why I hate this movie.
I agree. No, I'm with you on that one.
I hate
didn't care for Cujo. Did not care for Cujo at all. Yeah, I'm with you.
But I understand why some people do. I understand why objectively it probably is a good movie. I just, no, I hate it. I hate it.
Very biased. Animal lovers.
Yeah, biased. I hate it. Not for me.
All right, number 4. All right. Number 4, I'm going to go with...
Killer clowns from outer space. It's crazy.
I'm going to get a lot of shit for
That's
that.
one of mine. I was like, I can't put it on my list.
I'm going to get a lot of shit for that one. I know it's a classic. I know it's got a cult following. I can't. I don't know what it is. I can't do it.
It's not a good movie, you guys, but it's just...
It's not even like the good, bad schlock narrative.
Right.
It's just... I just can't. I don't know what... I just couldn't get behind it. Maybe because, like... So, fun fact, right? Fun story about good old Alex here. My grandma, on my dad's side, was a professional clown. And she went to school for it and everything. She was part of, like, you know, like, societies. And she was part of a lot of that stuff. And I grew up with a lot of that. And I grew up around clown culture, you know. I mean, it didn't scare me at all. Because I grew up with it, you know, so, I mean, I saw them as fun and caring, and of course, you know, my grandma she was fun and caring, and she loved to do that stuff, so that's what I associated with it. So anytime I see anything with, like, you know, killer clowns, or even, like, seriously, even, like, with, like, It, you know, I mean, sometimes I'm just like, I can't get behind that. I'm like, it's not creepy to me, I guess.
Does it make you feel better if both It and the killer clowns from outer space are actually aliens and not actually clowns?
I mean, it does help a little. But no, I mean, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, that's the one, like, out there camp movie that came out of the 1980s that I just could not...
I think it's another nostalgia one for me, and that's why I'm like, yeah, I don't hate it enough to put on my list. I do kind of like it, and I think it's a nostalgia thing for me.
And I understand. Hey, like it, you know, that's great if you like. There's a lot of people who love this movie, and I think that's awesome.
I don't love it. It's a bad movie, guys. Like, it's not a good movie.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, there are people out there who dig it, you know, and good for you, but I think it's shit.
Something for everyone.
Exactly. All right,
go. My number 4 is...
House 2, the second story. This place gives me the creeps.
Guys, the House movies.
Right, it's from 1987, and get this, the Rotten Tomato audience score, 42%.
Why?
Right.
What's the reasoning?
It's supposedly a horror comedy, but it's neither horror nor comedy. I found neither in this movie.
No.
Maybe I have to revisit it again as an adult, because I haven't watched it since I was a kid. Mm-hmm. But there's also, I'm not a Western person either. Like, I don't like Westerns. It's not my genre at all.
Sure.
And so the thing between, like, Gramps and Slim was like, I don't care. I don't like the showdowns. I don't care.
Like, this isn't interesting at all.
Yeah, and I like Amy Yazbek, but even in this movie, yikes! Like because I think she's the one that plays she wants to be a singer or something, and I think even introducing John Ratzenberger, in the third act didn't add any comedy to this movie.
It sure did not.
There's a dinosaur in it. There's an adorable caterpillar dog thing that I found adorable. And that's about it that I like about this movie. It had a dinosaur and there's a caterpillar dog.
I mean, I've only seen bits and pieces of the second one because I couldn't really stomach the first one.
The problem with the second one is that it's too much camp, not enough horror.
Yeah. And you guys, you gotta have a balance.
Yeah.
If you're gonna make camp horror, you gotta make it equal amounts.
And this was not it. This is like
what I
horror
kind of
camp is what we want, and this was camp. All right, so number 3.
My number 3 is I'm going to talk about a movie called Spookies. I understand that it belongs. You know, I understand its place in horror. I understand that it's supposed to be like a parody of a parody of a parody of a B movie. Listen, we already know, and you don't have to keep doing it, you know, we already know that these are garbage, and that it is a B movie, but it was like a B movie of a B movie of a B movie.
Right.
And it was just, it wasn't good. I didn't have fun during it, and I know that was the purpose.
I agree.
That was the purpose of the film, was have fun, because it is, you know, campy of a camp, you know. And I didn't have any fun. I thought it was stupid. I thought it was
stupid.
I thought it was way over camped. It was way over camped, especially with like the swamp monsters or whatever, and they made like the fart noises as they walked. Yeah, it was obvious that they were fart noises, and it was obvious that you're like, okay, well, clearly you're making fun without being subtle about it now, and it didn't fit. It didn't fit well with me.
It was poor satire.
Exactly. That's exactly where I'm getting at. It was poorly done satire. I couldn't vibe with it. Again, a lot of people love it. It's a cult classic to some people, but not to me. I thought it was boring. Did not have any fun.
I agree. I don't like spookies.
That's all I got to say.
So, my number 3 is going to be a little obvious. Jaws 4: The Revenge.
Fucking Jaws movies.
1987. And here we go. Rotten Tomato audience score is 15%, which, right, that sounds about right.
Accurate.
0% critic score with 40 reviews. I normally don't care about the critic score, but that's hilarious. Yeah, so apparently sharks are serial killers that can hunt down a family that is responsible for the death of another shark.
Riveting.
And I'm sorry, if I'm the Brody family and I truly think that this shark is after me, why am I not moving to the Midwest? How's a shark getting me there? Unless it's part of a tornado. Like, there's no way.
Unless it's Sharknado.
Right. That's what I'm, like, there's no way. It can't survive in fresh water, so it's not like it can swim up a river to get to Lake Michigan or something. Like,
they wouldn't survive in a river.
Move inland. Yeah. If you're scared of a shark getting you, move inland. Like, I can't with this movie.
I actually have not seen any of the Jaws sequels.
It's a shark with a grudge. That's what this movie is. It's a shark with a grudge against people who killed a completely different shark. Like, because, yeah, they didn't do anything to this shark. Like, I don't know.
I guess I don't really have a lot to comment because I only saw the first Jaws, and I'm not really a big fan of it. I don't know what it is. Like, maybe
it falls under that I don't want animals to be the bad guy thing.
Right, because sharks are not you know, I mean, again, how they're made to look and be, you know, so
Right.
that's also kind of something I have a problem with.
And
you
that
know.
movie had real world consequences because after Jaws, people were scared to go to the beaches, so they were killing more sharks, and they were, like, it's not cool.
No, and I think, honestly, that might be the reason why I'm like, I can't get behind this, because it's almost, like, too close to home, you know, and it's almost too close to the narrative of sharks bad, you know, and kill all of them.
Kill sharks.
Exactly. So I can't get behind it, and so of course I never saw any of the sequels, and I just never cared for the first movie to begin with.
I saw them all because my dad liked Jaws, and yeah, the first time I ever saw Jaws, we were watching it in our living room, and you know, I'm big and bad, like, oh, I'm not gonna be scared. My sister's sitting next to him on the couch because she gets scared by horror movies, but I never got, you know, nightmares or anything. And then, so I'm sitting there, I'm like, this isn't scary, and it's the part underwater where they're by the boat, and then the head rolls out, and that jump scare I leapt in the air and was next to my dad on the couch in like 2 seconds. The head got me, man. I was not expecting the head.
Yeah. I mean, shit. Yeah, when we think we can handle it, all of a sudden we can't.
Right. All right, so number two.
Number 2.
The Blood Diner. First they greet you, then they eat you. No one under 17 admitted.
Like, it's just a different take on Blood Feast, and Blood Feast was way cooler, and Blood Diner is just fucking dumb. I don't like the whole, you know, like, uncle who was a, you know, again, like, Satanist or whatever narrative, and then I don't like the dynamic of the uncle, you know, who has, you know, what he has with his nephews, and just, you know, not... Because in the beginning it was established as a, like, I care about you guys and I love you, and then it quickly changed, you know, with, like, he just his brain in a jar, just he's like, you know, like, go get this for me, you fools, you dumbasses, and it's like, it was very confusing to me. I didn't like the dynamic, and I just thought it was a really shitty ass take on Blood Feast, and I didn't like it.
I concur.
Yeah. That's all I have to say, because I know we've talked about it in the past, but fuck that movie.
Alright, so my number 2, and this is another one we've talked about in the past, but it's bad. Bad is bad. Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. And that's from 1985, the year I was born. It's bullshit. A Rotten Tomato audience score of 26%, which I think is a little too high. Because who the fuck cares about Roy Burns? Like,
no one.
How are you going to make a Friday the 13th movie and not make it about Jason? But what I found out while because I was curious, and I was like, is there a story behind why this is Roy Burns? So while I was doing research, I did look it up, and what I was able to find was apparently they wanted to do like John Carpenter and Deborah Hill originally with Halloween 3, that was supposed to be them rebooting it to be not about Michael, to have their Halloween anthology series of films like they wanted originally.
Right.
So this is their attempt, the Friday the 13th attempt at moving past Jason so that the movies could then be little anthology horrors or whatever. And no, it didn't work. Just like it didn't work for Halloween 3. You'll never get me to say Halloween 3 is a bad movie. I love Halloween 3.
Oh.
It's okay, you will, because it is a bad movie. But I love Halloween 3. That showed up on a lot of worst lists.
Yes,
Screw you.
it did. I agree with that 100%.
I
Fuck
love
you.
that movie.
That movie is dope.
But I get why it failed, because people were like, no, we like Michael Myers. And that was only 2 movies in. You already gave us 4 movies with Jason, and now in the 5th one you're going to be like, no, it's this Roy Burns guy.
You did it too late. Yeah. You did it way too late. It's like, if you were going to do something like that, you needed to start that earlier.
Right. Not to mention, this literally could have been any other movie about, okay, so the father wants to get revenge for the death of his son. I know what you did last summer. You know, like, there's no reason for this to have been a Friday the 13th movie, other than that they were trying to get it away from the series, but then they didn't make it different enough. Like, even Halloween 3, they didn't have Michael Myers in it except for the commercial. you shouldn't have made him dress up like your iconic character if you want people to forget about Jason.
Exactly.
So stupid. It's so stupid.
No, I totally agree. That's definitely one of the weakest in the series for sure.
Yeah.
Because I'm a huge Friday the 13th fan. It's one of my favorite franchises. So, yeah, part 5. I don't know what they were trying to do.
A lot of franchises falter on 5. Mm-hmm. It's weird. 4 and 5s is where they tend to falter, and then they'll like bounce back a little bit. Yeah, because I don't hate.
Well, they bounced back with part 7 for sure, which is actually the shirt that I'm wearing is the New Blood. That's my favorite one, and I feel like they really did a great take on revitalizing Jason, and just kind of making him a little bit more fresh. And it was Kane Hodder's first time playing Jason, which is absolutely iconic. So that was a big pivotal, very big pivotal moment in the Friday the 13th franchise. So, I love you, Kane Hodder. Marry me.
I'll treat you right. Or she'll treat you right.
I'll treat you right. I think he is married. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Okay.
Right, so number 1.
So my number 1, I have a lot of interest in, like, the true story of what happened the night of the Amityville Horror. The first movie was fucking awesome. You should have just left it. You should have just left it. You banked on it enough. You had the books. You had the, all of the media frenzy. You had the movie. Like, you did enough. You did enough. Trust me. And then they came out with
Amityville 3D.
Why?
It's not a good movie.
Why would you do that? Why would you fucking do that? And I think, if I can remember her name, I think it starred Lori Loughlin. Is that what her name is?
Was it Aunt Becky?
The girl from Full House. Yeah, Aunt Becky.
Aunt Becky.
I'm pretty sure she was in
Lori
it.
Loughlin, yeah.
Yeah, Lori Loughlin. And it was just... It was really confusing, and I don't understand why it needed to be done. And it wasn't even really at the height of anything 3D.
Right.
That's what I don't understand. Like, yeah, there were a couple things here and there where 3D was starting to become a little popular with horror films in the 80s, but I don't understand why they felt the need to make Amityville Horror
See, and I don't like
a 3D film.
I don't like any of the Amityvilles. I'm not a fan of the Conjuring stuff. The thing with me is I don't like Ed and Lorraine Warren because I truly believe they're charlatans. I don't like them. Mm-hmm. So I'll watch the movies, but they don't really do much for me. The only thing I like about any Amityville horror movie is the remake where fucking Ryan Reynolds was coming out of the bathtub. Yeah. That's the best part of any Amityville horror movie.
Yeah, that remake was shit.
I agreed. That's why I said the only good part was Ryan Reynolds getting out of the tub. Because yum.
Yeah, no, it wasn't bad to look at. No,
it was really good to look at.
I
think I was like in the theater like falling asleep and then I was like, hello. Suddenly my interest is piqued again.
Back to reality. Yep. Like, okay. Yeah, Amityville 3D, I just don't understand. Like, I don't understand why that this needed to be a thing. And like, even like the 3D, like the 3D wasn't even real 3D.
They hardly ever are anymore.
Yeah, I mean, like, it wasn't like, it was just so gimmicky, I think, is really the word that I was going for. And, like, not in the good way. Like, it's gimmicky in terms of, like, you're just trying to bank on something and maybe kind of go along with the, oh, well, there's a couple of horror movie 3Ds out there. Maybe we should do our own for Amityville, you know? And, you know, like you mentioned before, you don't care for, like, The Conjuring and, like, paranormal stuff. Right. And I actually really don't either in terms of, like, cinema. But since this was based off of a true story... you know, Amityville's the exception for me. So, I mean, and they made a lot of these. Like, they made a lot of Amityville
Way
movies.
more than you guys would think.
Yeah, and I don't understand why they needed to do that, because not only are they shit, but I mean, it was just based on a true story. And in my opinion, when you do films like that, you just one and done.
Yep. And we were telling her during the break that a couple weeks ago we featured it on Horrorland News. There's a movie coming out of a very B movie indie film that's called Amityville in Space. And yes, the house goes to space, guys. Like, I can't. Maybe our editor can put up clips of the trailer there, but yeah.
Like, I'm afraid if I'm gonna watch the trailer, I'm gonna hurt myself.
We'll send it to you.
Like, it's gonna ruin. It's gonna ruin my mood for the week.
We'll send it to you, and then it's up to you. It'll be like The Ring, whether or not you watch it.
I'm scared.
You're gonna call from Amityville House 7 days.
Right? Oh my God. Yeah. Yep. That would be it for me. Be like, well, that's the end. Goodbye. I'm not making anyone else watch that. I'm not gonna put them through that pain.
My point is, technically, they're still making Amityville movies.
They are. I was actually at Walmart the other day, and I saw another one that was made, and I can't remember the full title, but it was another one, and it was like the cover art was so bad. It was like somebody photoshopped, like somebody who had very, very little experience in Photoshop was just like, yeah, I can do this for, $20. And
I'm a
it'll be
graphic
fine.
designer.
Exactly. It's like basically fast and cheap. You know what I mean? Like fast and cheap Photoshop, and I was very upset looking at that, and I was like, I have to walk away. I can't stand it. I can't fucking stand any of the sequels, really. The first movie is the only one that counts. Promise.
The Ryan Reynolds scene is the only one that counts.
Fuck the remake.
Right.
Dumb.
No, I
Stupid.
agree. I agree. All right. So my number 1 is Halloween
5, The Revenge of Michael Myers.
Aww.
And this goes along with my theory that franchises suffer right around the 5th one.
I guess.
No, and I've got I feel like I've got very good reasons. So if you watched anything on here, you know that, and if you watched our 2000s one, you know I'm very against the Rob Zombie movies. They don't exist to me. So outside the Rob Zombie Halloween movies, number 5 is the worst of the series. I don't care how many people are going to chime in and say, oh, it's Resurrection, or no, it's 4. No, it is the 5th one. The 5th one went into production before the script was even finished being written. It went into production less than a year after.
That you don't do.
And the scene that everybody loves, and it is a very well done scene, it's a very intense scene, is when Jamie is in the laundry chute and he's stabbing trying to get to her. It's the best sequence in the whole movie. But they put Danielle Harris in actual danger shooting that because he couldn't see in there to see what was stabbing, so he could have stabbed her.
Oh my God.
Hit her at any time.
And it wasn't a rubber knife?
I don't believe so. Because in order to get through the
I guess that makes sense. Okay,
and I'm like, where is her mother? Like, even with a rubber knife, I'd be like, no, there should be a way for you to see in there so you know whether or not you're hitting my child.
Right.
Because that takes a whole new meaning to the part where the knife's there and her foot slips off of it and stuff like that you don't put children in danger to shoot cool scenes.
No. And and honestly at that point too, like, in the 80s, the safety on film sets was really starting to get serious.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because of course, in the 60s, 70s, even in the 50s, like, it was like, no sweat,
Yep.
But
wasn't it Twilight Zone that they filmed and then the guy,
yes.
the guy and the kids actually died, and they used that shot of the helicopter decapitating him or whatever in the film.
Yep, they did. They absolutely did. And that's fucked up. And I don't understand why John Landis allowed that, because he's a great film director. And he's made so many good movies.
Classics.
So it's very shocking to me that he would just overlook safety like that. Like, that really does shock me, considering how good his movies are.
And it really changes the way you look at that, because you can't watch it and that's how I feel after finding out that there was no safety precaution for her in place in that scene, again, whether it was a real knife or rubber knife, it would still hurt. She's still a child. She was 9, 10 years old. Like, there's no excuse for it. But then on top of that, it's just a bad movie, you guys. Like, the plot is, they were still writing it as they were shooting it, so of course the plot's not going to make a whole lot of sense. They kill off the final girl that we all got to love from the fourth one, kill her off right away to give us somebody who's insufferable. I hate Tina so much. I would kill Tina, so, like, I'm glad he did. I hate Tina. And plus, this movie gives us Dr. Loomis at his literal craziest. Like, he's more insane than Michael at this point. Like, between the two, I would lock his ass up. Like, he is out loud crazy in this movie.
I think, again, like we've talked about several times, it's nostalgia for me. So that's why I'm like, Halloween 5 isn't that bad, but it really is.
It really is.
It's not great.
And Halloween is my ultimate top favorite series. But again, being objective, Halloween 5 is the worst of the series. Because at least with Resurrection, at least it was an interesting concept. Maybe it wasn't carried out properly. And yes, Busta Rhymes sucks dick in that movie. Like, I hate it. But it was an interesting concept. And I didn't mind Resurrection. Busta Rhymes is my least favorite part of that whole movie.
Oh, yeah.
With Halloween 3, because people say that's the worst one. No, it's got nothing to do with Michael, but I don't care. I still like it.
There's a lot of people who hate H2O, too.
And no, you can suck a bag of dicks with that. Like, no.
There's actually quite a few people who don't like that one, and it's like, no, that movie's great. Yeah, no. I loved H2O. I thought H2O was awesome.
I think it rejuvenated the series just like it was supposed to do.
Yes.
It brought interest back, everything.
Yeah. And it really developed, it showed how Laurie Strode, really
It also kind of makes her a dick because she abandoned Jamie. Like, you just left your other kid there and fuck that kid.
Right?
But no, it erased everything. Like, it's not, that's a whole,
they erased the Jamie part.
Yeah,
that's
Jamie
like a different timeline.
Yeah, that's a different timeline. I'm joking, because it's a completely different timeline.
Right, right.
Jamie doesn't exist there.
I thought that movie was super well done. I think H2O is probably one of my favorites in terms of, like, the newer ones.
Yep. And 6, a lot of people say 6 is the worst one, but I'm sorry, Paul Rudd's in that movie a lot. And I don't mind the Curse of the Thorn stuff, because in my mind, I can connect it to the other movies that came before. Sure. And I have in other videos. Check out Slasher Advocate. But yeah, so I don't hate the Cult of the Thorn stuff. I obviously don't hate Paul Rudd. Especially babyface Paul Rudd. He's so young in that movie. So I think it was like right after Clueless he did that movie. So yeah, 5 is just objectively the worst plot, the worst script, the worst acting, the worst decisions that happen in the movie, and it's Loomis at his craziest. Yeah. So yeah, I don't like 5.
Oh, God. All right. Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
I got a lot off my chest, and, I don't know, guys.
Let us know what your favorite or worst of the 80s movies were. If you agreed with us.
I promise you, I'll probably be like, no, right. That movie was awesome.
Yeah, don't
you
hurt
have
our
no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, don't hurt our feelings too much by picking all of our favorite bad movies. But yeah, let us know in the comments what your worst 80s horror was. Make sure you like and subscribe, ring the bell so you get notified. And like I said, check out Slasher Advocate.
Please do.
Little self-plug. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. When we come back next week, we'll have the worst horror of the 70s.
Oh, that one's also going to be really hard for me.
I think it's going to be a little easier for me.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll see.
We'll see,
won't we?
Tune in.
Yep.
Have a good night, good friend.
Are you all right? Oh, say something. boss. What is it, my little foo-foo?
Who's gonna bring me ice cream, Mommy?